going, so the only thing is we're not streaming.
Okay. Well, if you can bring it back online, perfect. If not, we do need to get started. So thank you anyway. I want to welcome everybody out. This is the Roy City Council, September 6th, 2022. It is now 5:34. I want to welcome everybody. I want to recognize that we do have Councilmember Scadden with us. We do have Councilmember Sophie Paul. We do have Councilmember Jackson with us, and we do have Councilmember Joe Paul with us. We're going to excuse Councilmember Wilson, and we definitely have our youth council member, so appreciate you being here. Thank you. We've asked Councilmember Scadden if he will lead us in a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. Randy?
If you can all just take a moment and thank you. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Randy. Okay, Council, we do have some consent items, specifically the June 14th City Council Special Work Session meeting minutes, the June 21st Council meeting minutes, the July 5th, the July 19th Council meeting minutes, and also the special work session on the August 1st. Are there any comments, changes before I go for a motion?
There were some adjustments to the minutes. Were they noted?
Okay.
So I make a motion to approve the minutes and consent items with the noted adjustments to the minutes.
Okay, and Brittany, you do have those adjustments. Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ann. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the consent items are approved. Thank you. Public comment period. If you have anything you'd like to share with us on public comments, please step up to the microphone. Just any topic, anything you'd like to share.
Still short.
Pull it down a little bit.
This is Glenda Moore, 2088 West, 3825 South, here in Roy.
Need to pull that mic down just a little bit further
Is
for
it
us.
turned on?
There you
How's
go.
that?
Yeah, is it on?
Maybe it's not on. I can't get any closer than that.
I think you're there.
Okay. I just would like to request that the city council hold a Halloween decorating contest. Something really simple. Let residents submit their property and have a first, second, and third place winners. Whatever the awards are that you have for the Christmas decorating contest, the same, whatever you do for that. I've taken the liberty of writing up an announcement with the proposed dates. If you decide that this is something you want to do, it probably needs to be announced at the Roy Connection magazine, like within the next couple of days. So that was all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Glenda. Anybody else like to share a thought?
Glenda and I have the same problem, just in the opposite direction. I'm Kevin Homer. I live at 5398 South, 4000 West here in Roy. I want to offer a couple of comments on item G1 that has to do with the recreation complex.
Okay.
Hopefully, the comments that I have will be relevant to the discussion that will happen a little bit later. I think it would be appropriate to do two things so that we can help get the recreation center on some stable platform so that it can work and operate fully. I believe it would be a good idea, first of all, to have a public bond so we can vote on how to come up with the money. I certainly applaud the efforts that are being used right now, especially on Facebook. I see efforts to voluntarily raise funds to help with that, and there's been several $1,000s raised. The balance of that 1.5 million, I think, would be quicker funded if we were able to do it through a bond. The other is I still think it would be in the best interest of the city and the citizens to transition the recreation center to more of a free market model, to where over a 5-year period, if we had an economic director here in the city, which may happen at some point, that the economic director not only to bring in new business but also manage existing businesses so that they actually run at least on a no loss model like a free market business would. Over 5 years require that 20% of the deficit of the recreation center be mitigated so that it earns more money and doesn't cost Roy City $400,000 a year to run it. It's a good thing to have. It just needs to be a little more self-sustaining. Anyway, so good luck to whoever the economic director is. Maybe we can work that into the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, anybody else like to share a thought?
My name is, good afternoon, my name's Todd Call, 4888 South, 2675 West. I sent an email and you replied back, thank you, about Roy Days, and I just don't see it on the agenda. Am I mistaken, or?
It was all planned to be on there. The problem was is that the recreational deputy director was not available.
Okay,
And it was recommended that we postpone that till the 20th.
great.
When she'll be back and we have
a few
that,
weeks then.
continue that conversation.
21st, you said?
20th. The next city council will be the 20th of September.
2-0, great, thank you.
We'll watch for that. Thank you. Anybody else would like to share a thought? Any conversation, any topic? Okay. We'll go ahead and drop out of the public comment period. We do have some action items. I should indicate it's going to be just a little warm in here today. They've been trying to get the air conditioning system up and operational, but it's got some challenges, so it might just be a little warm, but just bear with us as we work through that today. We do have some action items. So Matt, let's do the first one, oath of office, Community Economic Development Director.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor and City Council, as you know, in the FY23 budget, we adopted or approved to have an Economic Development Officer / Assistant City Manager in the budget. We sent out for applications. We did receive 20 of them, reviewed those, interviewed this last couple of weeks, and I have made my recommendation. I would like to make my recommendation to the City Council. I have selected Brody Flint here for multiple reasons. He has a very obviously heavy legal background that would assist him through this process, that he would understand. There's a lot of legalities with economic development, and then he's also been a representative on the Planning Commission as well. He's been with the city for quite some time and kind of knows the strings here. So it's my recommendation to you guys to appoint Brody Flint to that position.
Okay, council, comment and questions before I go for a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept Brody Flint as the Community Economic Development Director and Assistant City Manager.
Okay, now I have a motion then to approve Brody Flint to the position. Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Okay, this is all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Is
Any
that not a roll
opposed?
call vote?
No.
Okay. Doesn't matter, everybody voted.
I already got a motion and it was approved. We okay with that, everybody?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. We have, by the way, comments before we sign you in? Okay.
Speech.
No, I'm really excited for this opportunity. I've spoken with Matt quite a bit, and the people that I get to work with every day know this. I've chosen Roy because I like the people that are in this room. I've had opportunities recently to go elsewhere, and The main reason I didn't even entertain a couple of those opportunities were because of the people in front of us, and quite specifically the people that sit right here and behind me. I truly love this city and what we're doing, and I'm looking forward to new opportunities and new challenges. And I just want to say to everyone here listening, I will most likely make you mad or irritated at least once, so just remember all the times that you do like me when I do that.
Oh, I'll bet you I beat you to it.
Start with I and then state your name for me. So I,
Brody Flynn,
having been elected or appointed
having been elected or appointed
to the office of
to the office of
Community Economic Development Director and Assistant City Manager,
Community Economic Development Director and Assistant City Manager,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and I will discharge the duties
Of my
of my
office
office with fidelity.
Okay. Council, any comments you'd like to make?
Introduce your cute family. They're so excited. I think you've got your little cheerleaders right there.
So this is my wife Alexi, and then 3 of our 4 kids are here. The oldest is at football practice up at Ogden High, but my youngest right there is Landry, and then Karsten and Lyndon.
You
Thanks
guys ready
for
to be
joining.
busy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's busy.
We're always busy.
Don't let him get a big head, okay? Brody, I'm way excited you're going to be in this position because I know how well you will work with all of us because you're really a great guy.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Look forward to working with you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. It's good to have you, Brody. The follow-on question is, what do you plan to do with the prosecuting attorney position?
We will have to put that out there, so.
Put an announcement out?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
We'll get right on that. We'll probably even have an announcement.
Okay, perfect. Okay. You might want to stick around. We got some economic development kind of stuff that's going to be popping, so. Okay, Andy, we're going to talk about Resolution 22-16 that talks about the Constitution Week.
Thanks, Mayor. The U.S. government has declared that September 17th through the 23rd, can you hear me okay?
Can now. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. I'll put that right here by me. But the United States government has declared that the week of September 17th through 23rd be known as Constitution Week. We don't have a meeting in between that time, so at this time we have the resolution before you to make that declaration for the week of 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. As part of that resolution, and it's stated right here, is that we make that proclamation and we encourage the citizens of this city to observe this week as Constitution Week, and in the schools, churches, and other suitable places with appropriate ceremonies and activities. So we're asked that the council would approve this resolution.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Okay, any comments, questions relative to the resolution?
I make a motion to accept Resolution 22-16 for the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Randy, this is a roll call vote. Brittany?
Councilmember Jackson,
Aye.
Councilmember Sophie Paul,
Aye.
Councilmember Scadden,
Aye.
and Councilmember Joe Paul.
Aye.
Okay, resolution passed. Thank you. Brittany, we'll need to get a signature of that, on that resolution. They'd like to put that with the copy of the Constitution in the library at Roy Library. So if it's possible, do you think you might have a good, well, let's do it this way. I'll drop by tomorrow if you can have it ready for my signature, and then we'll get a copy to them so they can post it with the Constitution, okay? Perfect, thank you. Resolution 22-17, a resolution approving additional street sign toppers for Roy High School area. Matt, I believe you're going to talk to this one.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. A couple of city meetings ago, Councilmember Joe Paul mentioned renaming 4800 South as Royal Way. So this resolution doesn't necessarily change the legal name for the citizens down that road, but puts toppers on the city streets. So to Royal Way. We do have Ross and Public Works did some signs for us, and we can all make a decision on that as well.
Oh, awesome.
So there's a couple of different ones. This is the one that I had the vision of, kind of matches the theme that's on the football field. This one also does pop. It's reflective, so that one looks good. Then there's a couple others. Basically the same design with a black background and I would say gold lettering. And those two.
So I go for the first one because we don't really use Vegas gold anymore at the school. It's all yellow, gold, and black.
So this was what I originally had envisioned when I made the proposal.
I guess the question I would ask Ross, is any comments? How far down 48? That goes all the way into West Haven.
That's what I was gonna ask you, how far do you wanna go to the railroad track, or you wanna go to 3500, or all the way to 4300 west?
Comments,
So
council?
my original proposal was 1900 to 3500.
Okay.
And how many corners would?
Go street or just main?
Every street, we do it on each.
I think, is that a full-size street sign there?
No, let me ask you, Ross, that brings up an interesting point. How that hold up in about a 50-mile-an-hour wind?
It's the same size as all the other ones that have the streets number on them, so,
So do you just add a piece to the top of the sign currently there?
yes. We
Okay.
make a topper that goes on top of what's already there, and then we put these.
Oh.
So would it face so that you could have black on one side and gold on the other, or they have to be the same color?
We can do it either way, but I was planning on doing whatever one you chose, it's just.
Both sides.
Okay.
That's what my thought was. is do
Let me
that on
offer you
both
that.
sides.
That's a pretty big sign. And I think the intent would be is to make it a big sign, but by the same token is, some of those streets are relatively close to each other.
That's no bigger than the one that says like 2700 west or 2900 west or.
So that's a standard street sign. So that's
yeah.
it looks big right
looks-
here
it
holding
looks
it,
big there.
but
Yeah.
it's the same size as what's there right now.
Okay, but
The ones that go on the corner like this, not
Yep.
the big ones across the top.
No.
That
corners.
just looks huge. I guess when it's so
When
far
it's,
away.
what is that, 10 or 12 feet in the air? 12 feet?
Oh,
Yeah, when you're 12 feet in the air, that's perspective.
I guess my comment was more along the lines would be is that putting one at every street, both on the north and south side along 4800?
I don't believe we only
Can
have
we
them on
stagger?
one side of the street, so it wouldn't be both sides.
Okay.
I think they're all on the north side, I believe, but I'm not.
So basically, wherever there's a current street sign, this would go on top of it. But not every street, if it's a through street, not every street has it on both sides. It's only on one side of the road.
Okay. Okay.
So you said on the south side normally? Or
Could be
whatever
south or
side.
north.
And you don't know how many that is total then? No? And you have the material to make these at your shop? Yes. Awesome. They look really nice.
It's down to about $12 a piece, so.
Oh, yeah.
so not bad. Okay.
I feel like other high schools don't necessarily have them on like every single one on the street. We could do like the beginning and the end. That's how I don't know.
Well, or the main streets like 2700, 3100. I don't know.
Yeah.
There are just a lot of streets. Maybe, council, maybe a best approach would be is, you can certainly make up a bunch of them, because if one gets lost or decide they want to do it because it's senior night or something, you can have some backup. But
You said
maybe if you just kind of look at staggering them, because that's a lot of signs on one street. It's definitely going to catch the imagination, which I think was the intent, but it could very well be overkill when you take that all the way from 19 to 35.
you said it's $12 per sign? If we made a dozen, we're $144.
So I'd say I'll make the resolution, but let's look at it as we start doing it and see which ones where it makes the most sense.
Yeah, I don't think it's a cost issue as much as just a saturation issue. Okay, but anyway, would you kind of look at that, Ross, and see what aesthetically looks nice?
Black one,
Okay,
black and
I'll go for the resolution, but I think it's important, if it's okay, Brittany, before we go for the motion, we need to make sure we tell the public what's about to happen, and most importantly, this is not a street change. We're not asking people to make an address change on Royal Way, because we're not doing anything along that. And if
I
we
was
don't
actually
tell
going to
them-
put it in the connection, but the connection come out before
No.
this, so.
But she can get it on the website, and
maybe
she
if
can
you
get it
put
on
it
the
on the website
Facebook
and I'll
page,
share it.
okay?
Well, and you
if you
can
wanna-
get it on for next month, right?
At the end of this month is homecoming week, so if we
That's
could,
the goal, is to
Yeah.
have these up for homecoming week.
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay,
So Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution 22-17, a resolution approving the addition of street sign toppers in the Roy High School area from 1900 West to 3500 West with the black background and yellow writing.
okay. I have a motion then for approval of Resolution 22-17. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ann, thank you. Okay, this is a roll call vote. Brittany?
Councilmember Sophie Paul,
Aye.
Councilmember Scadden,
aye.
Councilmember Jackson,
Aye.
Councilmember Joe Paul.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Resolution 22-17 is approved. Okay, ordinance 22-11, amending Title 10 zoning. I don't see Steve here, so I'm going to turn it back over to you, Matt. Who'd like to talk about this before we take a motion on it?
So this was actually an application to the Planning Commission, and the applicant contacted the city this morning and said that he was not able to come, and was asking if we could just push it off until the 20th, until our next council meeting to discuss it. So we would recommend we table it.
Okay, any comments before I ask for a motion? Okay, no comments then. Do I have a motion then to approve tabling ordinance number 22-11?
Motion to table ordinance number
you.
2211.
I'll
Randy?
second that.
And who sent it? Sophie?
Sophie.
Okay. This will be a roll call vote to table. All in favor?
Roll call or?
Or excuse me, let's not roll call it. Just give me a
Aye.
up or down vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay?
Glad I'm
All
not
in
the only
favor?
one that can't get it out of my mouth fast enough.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And we'll basically just table this one for the 28th September City Council meeting. Discussion items. Specifically, discussion items deal with the complex, recreational complex. Matt, you're going to lead this conversation?
Yes, just a quick rundown with where we are on the complex right now. Currently, the fundraiser has raised $125,245. That's
How much?
125,245.
Okay.
That is as of this afternoon. In the 2023 budget, Royce City Council put toward $500,000 toward it, so that's roughly $625,000. Currently, there's no work being done. The next step in this process is to actually have the engineer draft up the plans and an RFP to send out. Once we do that, once we authorize them to do that, it's going to take 45 days for that to be done. I wanted to have a discussion tonight about starting that process. As I just said, we have $625,000 currently in today's budget that you don't have to allocate any more money toward this. It's just getting going on that 45 days of that engineering estimates and proposals, everything like that. So a couple advantages to doing that is we'd have more information. Once we put that RFP out, you'll have an opportunity to be able to voice your suggestions or concerns or anything like that before we submit the RFP. And then also, once we submit the RFP and get the bids back, the city council has to authorize that contract as well on the back end of that RFP. Traditionally speaking, fall is the best time to issue an RFP. So saying that we're 45 days out right now, if we start this process, say tomorrow, we're going to be 45 days out that we'd be ready to submit an RFP to the general public in the fall time. If we wait to spring, there could be a chance that prices do go up or people get busy or whatever. And so the one negative is that we're going to be using part of that money to hire out that engineer. And so if something happens, we have spent that money. And that would be part of that $500,000 that we've already allocated toward.
And how much is that approximately?
Yeah, what's the?
It's approximately $50,000. So it's an hourly rate. And so he just said it would be about $50,000.
And that's to get the engineering done, to draft up the engineering and put the proposal together.
Correct, yep. The estimates is what we've done thus far. So it was just basically engineering estimates of saying how much this project.
So that allows us to know exactly how much it's
the
going to
damage
cost, and then if we have enough money, put it out.
Correct. And
So it could go more than the 650, whatever that first.
695.
695.
yeah, because that was just an estimate, because once you submit it to the companies, we could get it in for less or more. We
We've just
don't
been
know that.
guessing up till this
Okay, so
point.
how long does he take? I know you said 45 days, but how long does his proposal, is that his
What is he
proposal?
guesstimating for the engineering side?
That we usually, so the engineering side is about 45 days. A
Okay,
little,
that's
45
the
to 60,
45 days.
yes.
So we're
That's what
45
it
days
is.
until
And
we
then you
get the
submit-
engineering back.
Yep.
Before we can send it out to
And then
RFP.
you send it out and you RFP it and you usually send that out for a couple of weeks before you
Right.
start getting the bids.
So in
in.
reality, we could do another 45, we could do 45 days, see how much more comes in from our fundraiser.
Correct.
And then,
Correct.
no, this is our total, yes or no, we can move forward, can't move forward.
Correct. I think one of the
Okay.
issues that we're having right now is we're basically not doing anything with it.
Correct.
And so with this 45-day delay and the fundraiser coming in like, let's say 45 days, then we're going to start out that 45 days and just go into the new year. You'll be hitting the holidays and everything like that.
Because our fundraiser will be done
Correct.
at the end
October.
of that. Yeah,
Right.
so we have,
Exactly.
okay.
So that's kind of the recommendation from staff, is just to be able to move forward. We already have the money in the budget. We have that $500,000. We have $125,000 that we have not recognized in the budget as well.
Do you have somebody in mind to do that?
The engineering.
Engineering.
Correct. Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
You do?
Yeah, through Wasatch Civil, they have a mechanical engineer that they subcontract out to that specializes in that.
Okay.
Yes.
So bottom line would be, council, the best we can tell at this moment, we're probably 60 days out minimum before we'd ever get an RFP if it was approved by the council, and more than likely 2 or 3 weeks after the RFP before we'd ever get a response back to an RFP. So now we're out probably, we're getting into December before we'd ever get a result back. And since the cost is the level it is, Ross, you're required then, on a sealed bid, you would be required to come into the city council before we'd ever be able to execute that contract. The council would then have to vote on that to approve that.
So we need to get going on it. I mean, I have commitments, $25,000 to $100,000 coming in. Plus, we have other big donors that we're meeting with, and I feel confident we're going to raise this money.
But to your point, Ann, and I think the point that Matt's bringing to the table is that at this moment, we're doing nothing.
Right.
And the other part about that would be the price could continually going up as a result of inflation. And so at least we ought to get to the point where we can basically know what the cost is going to be. And then the council then can make what appears to be a firm decision predicated on the outcome of whatever comes up in the bids.
Right.
So do we just have to give a firm yes or
We
no?
just, do we just have to give
If we
guidance?
wanna move
Like,
forward,
I
yeah,
just
I'd
need
like
to, I
to
just
do
need
that.
to get way ahead. It's a discussion item, but I think the council basically just simply says, are you okay with the city basically moving forward to get to the next step so we can do this? And if I see 3 head nods,
Yes.
then I say, let's let them get to the next step. Otherwise, it's going to sit here and could cost us a lot more money if the decision is to go ahead and do it. So are
Yeah.
we okay with allowing them to go ahead and move forward, council?
Yes.
I
I
see.
mean, we have commitments of money coming in, and so yes, we need to get going on it.
Randy?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, I got my 3. So Matt, that's a green light to go ahead and let's take it to the next step, okay?
We'll do it.
Perfect, thank you. Andy, the next one deals with the building height ordinance. I know you've been working that one diligently. You and I've talked a couple of times.
Right.
Can you kind of give us a status where we are on that?
Yeah, I can tell you where we are with that, Mayor. This time, I think when we passed that ordinance, there was a little bit of confusion, so, but we could only do it exactly as it was stated here. So Steve and I have been working on it. We've done a draft exactly it was as stated. We've also done one, what we think the intention was, and I've also done another one. So right now, the status is exactly as we approved it. If there's a motion, or if a council member would like to put on the agenda a motion to amend what was done earlier, that can be done. So it only takes one council member to put that on. Right. We could come forward at that time, and then the council can decide where we go. I think what we'll do is we'll put out a memorandum for you all to review before that. If there is the motion to come on, we'll put a memorandum that'll show all of those, and we could really choose any one of the 3 or 4 that we'd put on at that time. But I think maybe that'll help clarify what was done before.
I like that, Andy. I think that'd
Mayor,
be perfect.
can I add to this just
Please.
a little bit? I think, just for the general public as well, one of the issues is that the motion was very, very lengthy. And when you do change that, it kind of trickles through the code. We've had problems in the past of ambiguity and issues like that. So they're really trying to review everything to make sure it all flows correctly,
Right.
and not just stated as that motion. So
Yeah, and that's, I believe that's critical. And I like your approach then. Give us a memorandum, send it to the council. Let us look at that maybe in the next meeting. And if it's already been approved, but if we want to make an adjustment, we'll need all 5 of you here. I think if we're going to make an amendment to it, or change an existing, no, we can do that just the old-fashioned way.
We won't. Because
That's
we're
right.
not calling a special meeting.
That's right. Okay, then you can look at it. If you like what you read, we can move forward. If we need to make some tweaks, we can tweak it and make a decision to do so in our next meeting. We okay with that, council? Okay, I think we're good. Okay, thank you, Andy. Street light at 2350. Matt, Ross, what's your thoughts on that one?
yeah, so I believe this is the street light down by 2350 by the cemetery.
Yes.
There's a little bit of a bend. There was a recommendation from the council to put a street light there. We have put a street light going the other direction on one of the street posts. From what we hear from the residents down there, they really like it.
Okay.
We still have an opportunity if they want more light down there, and if the city council would like us to, that there's another post that we can put another light down there. But right now, we feel that the residents at this point are pretty satisfied with what happened.
Okay, so at this moment, council, the existing light was modified. Hopefully it provides exactly what the residents in that area were looking for. We'll go ahead and show this one as being closed. If it surfaces again, we can certainly entertain that. Thanks, Ross. I know that takes some effort on your part. We're just trying to accommodate these issues and these needs. Okay, perfect. Historical first leader signs at the Municipal Center. Travis, I'm going to put you on the spot, but if you can talk to us about this one.
Absolutely. We have 4 signs, and we've had them for a while. They're historical signs. You've probably seen the original 4 we put up, where 3 of them are on 6,000 and one of them's at Royal Elementary. We like the signs. Unfortunately, when we ordered it, they moved our UDOT 5600 project up. And 3 of the 4 signs are scheduled to go right onto 5600. And so we've been storing them. And there is a 4th sign that celebrates the first historical leaders in Royce City. We could put that sign up. It would go here at the city building. We've talked about putting it off of 1900. We've also talked about putting it right here where there's a time capsule. But we wanted to get your guys' direction on if that's something you would want us to get moving on sooner rather than later, or wait to put all 4 of them up at the same time.
Council, you have any comments about that? It come out of the Arts Council, and it's the emphasis was really about saying is there were 4 done, they've actually been done for, almost a year.
Yes.
5,600 obviously will be at least a 2.5-year, 3-year project. There's no reason for us to do any type of recognition for history out of that. And as a result of that, but we do have one sign that does talk to the history of Roy City, and it talks about the first leaderships in this city. And the proposal would go ahead and ask that Travis go ahead and place that historical sign somewhere effectively by the administrative building.
Are they cemented in or like
They
if
come
you-
with a post, and we've thrown bags of like Quickcrete in it and different things that they hold up pretty good. We haven't had any issues with the original 4.
So what are the other 4 signs, like the First Church?
I
Or-
knew somebody was gonna. I know there's First Gas Station. I believe there's the First Church, and I'll have to double check on the 4th one.
Well, I think we might as well put that one up if it's done.
Yeah, if it's done, it's just sitting there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Give us a little time. This is a Parks Department. The spring and fall is really challenging because we lose our staff. So we'll get it up shortly when time becomes available.
You okay with that, Sophie? Okay, Joe, you okay with that? Okay, then just go ahead and move when you can. If it takes a few months, Travis, no hurry, just as long as you feel comfortable, we can get to it when you can, okay? Thank you. Sophie, I believe you had a conversation about the general plan.
Just after the Roy Day, Roy Service Day of Service, and many comments from people pertaining to the trees and what we took out in the trees. I have an article. Randy actually gave me one, and I had been reviewing this, and it states that by allocating $1.5 million, which was done this last, I think it was August 16th. So this is pretty recent. They allocated $1.5 billion for the U.S. Forest Service urban and community forestry programs. So that means there's money out there for us. And I'm not saying right now needs to be, we don't need to be putting trees in right now during a drought, but I would like to see some of that tree information and tree programs put back into the general plan so that when this money does come available, and it says the legislation's investment in the U.S. Forest Service urban and community forest programs will scale up work in the country, getting funding directly to communities and local nonprofits. That gives opportunities for our nonprofit organizations and people that want to get involved in specific things like this to say when we have 5,600 projects coming up, we can say we want trees here. When we have a trail or whatever, we can say this is in our plan. And the way it happened when we did our general plan, we took all that out. So I'd like to see that put back in or discussion.
Okay, a conversation, council?
Well, I'd like to see us to continue to put trees in. Unfortunately, we're losing a lot of trees in the city to drought or bug infestations. I'm seeing it in our parks, around our buildings, over at the high school. They're losing them around the football field. It's no doubt that trees help produce oxygen, which we all need that to live off of. Plus, it adds to the beauty of the city. And it is a little heartbreaking that we are losing the amount of trees. And I would like to see us to continue some type of an effort to put trees back as we're doing construction, 5,600, 1,900. Maybe we back off, which we did in our ordinance, the amount of grass and things like that, but I think we still continue to move forward with some kind of type of urban forestation program.
Okay, just so there's no confusion, that there were really in the general plan that you were reviewing, there were 2 components to the trees. One component talked about putting trees on public properties, mostly in the parks. And I'm sensing that's where you're thinking. But there was also a component in there that talked about basically, it's not a forcing factor, but it certainly was a influential that says we wanted all of the public, they wanted in the middle of their front yards to put a tree. And that the city would go ahead and either purchase that tree or have that tree, but they needed to put the tree in the front yard. We're not talking about the parkway. They're already authorized today under the policies today. They can put one if they choose, but it was a momentum on the part of the city to drive to have them put in their front yard so we can get a much better canopy, if you will, in the appearance. That one is the one that had some problems with us because it was maybe a forcing factor that says we want you to put our trees in your lawn on your private
Right.
property.
Not the intent, yeah.
And that one may very well be best served, that we can certainly encourage it, but not necessarily use resources, funding to do that. However, if we want to structure then in the general plan a discussion that says, when we're putting it back in the park, or we want to add those opportunities put in the park and let it be on the public land, which is the land that Roy City owns, then I think, in my opinion, that's much more compatible, okay, to what I think really is the intent of what part of the general plan talked about, and I think, Sophie, to your point, was actually removed. So if your interest would be is to simply say, let's bring that portion to public lands conversation back and try to revisit that portion and leave it out of the private sector's forcing factor and put it in the public sector's land, then I think we might have a solution here. Are you okay with that approach?
Yeah, I'm all for more trees because I hate seeing all the trees dying all over the city.
Well, and encouraging
And
it.
then it'd be on new developments also, that they can put trees in and,
If it's, again, it's,
Private.
if it's in
Yeah.
the public sector for we're gonna have that 2.5 mile trail that's gonna run down 5600, then certainly putting trees in there and pocket parks in there would probably be something to be very beneficial. So I'm sensing, is that where you're thinking you'd like to have that general plan be amended to?
Yes.
Yeah, and I
Right.
like the encouragement piece in there too, because another thing we're seeing, we're ripping out, which I agree, there's a happy balance. Not only is the city ripping out a bunch of grass or letting grass die, but we have residents that's ripping out grass, which, like I said, it's a happy balance. But as we do that, we're turning rock front yards. We're not talking xeriscape, we're talking zeroscape. And you look around and it looks like some yards and even some city property, nothing personal, but it's being prepped for cement. It looks like road base. And so I think we've got to encourage not only just rock, but there's other features in it, and some plants, some trees, and things like that. So,
Well, I will indicate to you there's which we have not got to that conversation that talks about the 5-year strategic strategy plan. Certainly there had been conversations about how do we look within the 5-year strategic strategy plan to look at water conservation. We already know that there's legislation passed this last year that's going to drive the cities to amend the general plans. It's going to talk about water conservation. And so we're looking forward to see what the Planning Commission, okay, and Brody, you'll have an opportunity to help facilitate a little bit of that process as well as the Economical Development Director. But in essence, it's a community development is really what it comes down to. How is that going to shape in terms of what our long-term plan is going to be in terms of the general plan? And so I'm really interested to see what the Planning Commission comes up with and presents back to the City Council along that line. I guess my only concern is, if it's okay with you then, that if we move forward with this, that we can certainly encourage people to, conserve water in the way they feel comfortable with their own private land, but you can certainly go ahead and move forward with at least the public lands to put some type of a tree forestry program together to help us to breathe, maybe breathe a little better and maybe make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And so, okay, now here's the challenge. And the only one who will know this, Brody, so it's an action item, your first action item tonight. It's already going to cost us $15,000 to $18,000 to finish the general plan. That was the proposal, and I believe it's well on its way. We're talking about adding a little bit more back into the general plan. Could you do us a favor, Matt, Brody, come back to us and give us an idea what the cost would be to help to modify that if we have to put something back into the general plan?
I can give you that now, Mayor.
Please.
Because Steve has checked on that, and it's around $600 to $800, I think is,
Okay.
$600 to $800 to put that back in.
Okay. So with the $608 bill, are we okay to go ahead and move forward to get that put back into the general plan?
And would that just be on the public part of it, or just exactly how it was before?
Well, remember, there was two parts in there before. One
Right.
talks about where they needed the people on private land to put the trees,
So
Right.
not the private.
So we'll
I
just
don't-
do the public.
but just keep
Right.
it focused to the public, okay?
And not the paying. I don't want it to be a part of the city paying for trees. I
On
think that is
pub-
the
on
public.
private
Yeah,
land.
you're right.
That's
That
the
was
private
Yeah, that's the
private
private
land.
part. Yeah, we're not.
So if you leave that out, that takes care of that.
Okay.
Because there was a provision in there where they're saying the city should set up a fund by which they will remove people's trees at the public expense. And that one also created a little problem with the council.
Right. So we'll just, okay. I
Yeah,
think we've got
so
it.
just leave that one out of the conversation, but look at more of the forestation approach of how we can use our public spaces to put more trees. And if there's programs that the Forest Service or someone are sponsoring, then certainly we can apply for that and see if we can't champion a bunch of people within the city to help us plant.
Yeah, as of the August 16th, I don't think it's been allocated. No programs have been set up yet, to my knowledge.
Okay. We just need to watch for that when they do take advantage of it.
Would you,
Okay?
as I say, we got a hand up in the audience.
Please. Yeah, just if
Come-
you
yeah,
like
come
to
to the
step
mic, yeah.
up, comments fine. Name and address, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Dennis Brown, 2119 West, 6000 South. In regards to the trees, I owned some property along 1900 West up until about 3 years ago. There's new condominiums there. Years ago, when my father was alive, the city had us put trees about every 25 feet along 1900 West there on the west side of the road. Well, as time went along and those trees got bigger, the tree roots pushed the sidewalks up, and the city had to come along and grind them down. And I would call them about every 2 years to come and grind the trees down, to grind the roots down. No one ever came along to prune them. I had to prune them all the time. My wife and I just bought e-bikes a year ago, and we ride the Rails to Trails ride all the time. But if you go turn south off of 6000 South and go towards Salt Lake City on that trail, the trees have caused the asphalt pavement down there to look like this, if any of you rode that. So if you're planning on putting trees close to the trails on 5600, I strongly recommend you don't do that because it's going to cause the trail to go like this here. So I'm just saying, if you're thinking about putting trees between the curb and the sidewalk, it may look pretty, but it's not functional and it's very costly.
I
And
think
that's all I have to
placement
say.
becomes
Yeah,
key.
placement becomes key, 100% with
And I
you.
As
know
well
when they,
as, oh, sorry.
I know when they had the, I can't think what you called it last year. I came and spoke a couple of times where I did it on, there was a couple of recommendations to put trees down the center of 1900 West and down there, and I strongly opposed that, and I voiced my opinion on that, that I think that obstructs your vision. And so if you're thinking about doing something like that and putting trees along 1900 West to make it look pretty, it may look pretty, but there is so much traffic there, and I'm afraid of it disturbing the sidewalks, that you may want to think about that before you decide to do something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend down the middle of
I
the
wouldn't
street.
recommend down 1900 neither.
And between the curb and the sidewalk, wherever you're thinking about, if that's something you're thinking about doing, I strongly encourage you not to do that. Thank
Right.
you.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dennis.
And I think there is so many different trees and tree types that belong places, not just throw the biggest tree up and hope it doesn't ruin anything.
No, and to support Mr. Brown's point, you know, we're taught that a weed is anything growing out of place. And sometimes these trees, if we put them too close to cement structures, do exactly what he said. And then they cause it to buckle, and then we have to remove the trees and fix the cement, and that comes at a pretty great cost. So we love trees, and we want to see as many trees as we possibly can get. I think it is critical, though, that we put them in the right spots.
Agreed.
I would agree.
Okay. Well, certainly, we'll go ahead and move forward with that. Andy, Brody, if you guys will go ahead and make that happen. And then maybe if you can, whatever portion you're going to put back, would you mind just sending us a memorandum of what's going to be back in there so we can comment on it before it goes in for final? Only from the standpoint I'm sensing it's just not any tree. Travis, I believe the trees that are allocated or approved by the city to go on the parkways are a lot of those trees that I've read at least really don't have that arterial route that basically lists them. Certainly the ones in my front yard won't. They're not big enough, and they're at their full maturity. And they are the ones authorized under the city's code.
We have an approved list of trees for Park Strip.
That's right.
Okay.
And those would fit very nicely. But I think in the areas where you talk about the big parks, where you do have opportunities for a lot of growth, some of the more mature trees we see out there today are really an addition. They look really nice. And I'm sensing that's, Sophie, that's your point. Let's bring at least some of those trees back to some of our parks that might be beneficial.
Well, even on 1900, and I appreciate what Mr. Brown said, and I totally agree, but I go back to this often, and I probably shouldn't, but we were driving downtown Logan this last weekend, going to Bear Lake, and I had my 16-year-old son with me, and he says, Dad, look at the sidewalks. You can walk down them. There's planter boxes. So not trees in the ground, they're in planter boxes that are above ground. There's benches, really nice area. And I said, you know, I brought that up several times to have that kind of a home look and feel to it. So if we did the right size, smaller trees, but put them in planter boxes on the sidewalks or park strips along 1900, that's kind of more what I was thinking than great big canopy of trees.
Okay, certainly something to consider. We definitely put a lot of streetlights down 1900. And one of the questions we still need to finish, which we're going to be asked, do we put those same streetlights down 5600? UDOT needs to have that answer, okay? Go on. So think about that. We have a little bit of time, but we do need to make that decision. They are going to put some streetlights down there, but you can see we've done a little bit different with what we've done in 1900. Okay, those are the discussion items. Thanks for comments. We got some information to go forward with, Matt, so if you'll do that. City Manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. September 11th is coming up this Sunday at 6:30 in the morning at the fire station. The fire department does a memorial tribute to the people that lost their lives during that morning. So I just wanted to extend the invite to you that you're all welcome to come to that. The general public is as well. It's just out in the front of the fire station.
On 1900.
On 1900 West, yes. Also.
Sorry.
6:30?
6:30 a.m.
Be there at 6:30. I think the ceremony is officially at 6:45 because that's the significant time, but they want people in place prior.
Okay.
I'd wrote about it in the Connection magazine article.
Yep. And then this Saturday, actually, there's the 5K race that's going to be, I believe, the Tri-City. So it's down at Emma Russell. The runner start time is at 8 o'clock. They're going to start going at 6 a.m. You're also welcome to go there as well. So that's not necessarily something that the city's hosting, but that you've seen signs and stuff around the city. So just a good event. We do have concert in the park this Friday at 7 p.m. You're all welcome to go to that as well.
Is that the last one?
That is the last one, the fourth and final. And then we have talked about the railroad crossing at 4800 South. We got new dates for the closures. That is September 12th through October 1st that crossing will be closed.
Let me get that one more time. September 12th?
September 12th through the 1st.
To
So
the
you've
1st
probably
of
noticed
October.
that has not closed. They originally told us that it was going to, but they did not do that.
Have we, I believe it's been talked about multiple times, but have we got a definite from UDOT that 2675 is going to be open back up, headed,
I'll tell the admin tomorrow.
didn't I what?
Did Brandon send you a plan that showed that, yes, it's getting?
He sent me something, but I was trying to interpret it, and without the engineering background, I was having a hard time understanding. Okay, so that turn will be open back up, so you can come across the tracks, eastbound, take a left turn, head the back road to the school or whatever. Okay,
Oh, on to 2675, you mean?
2675,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
so that'll alleviate some traffic across, some of the students can go the back way to alleviate
And
some
the
on
closure
4800.
that's going to be open?
No.
No, it'll be
That's-
open
After.
indefinitely
Yeah,
after
after.
this is done.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is just more of a save the date, September 22nd for Roy High School. September 26th, that's a Monday. We're going to be feeding the high school sport teams. So we're planning on around 350. So quite a good turnout, hopefully.
Now, we're going to feed all the sports.
Correct.
Just the
Yep.
fall sports.
Just the
Yeah,
the
fall.
fall sports and the other type of sanctioned clubs.
And what are we feeding them? We're not cooking no
Academic
more,
and
right?
everything. What's that?
Are we cooking hamburgers and stuff like that again?
Yep.
Are we
Oh.
doing this again in the spring?
Yes, that's the plan.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So clubs being like debate and, or
Any
no,
USAH.
any U. Okay.
SAA, yeah.
Yeah. Utah
Okay.
High School
Any
sanctioned
sanctioned
sports.
Sanctioned
sports
sports.
clubs.
Yeah.
I'll have them send that out to the clubs then.
Actually, Brittany has a.
What time?
Yeah, Mike has it and he'll send it to the coaches.
He sent it to me already,
Okay.
but I don't think the debate team got it, or like some of the clubs. So I'll see.
Okay.
So the time that we'll
get the
be-
word out, that'd be perfect.
Certain clubs.
The time that we'll be serving it is at 5:30. Start time, and the football team will be there about 6 o'clock.
And,
So-
and are we doing it in the weight room again? Or
Yeah, just right in front of there by the
Okay.
kind of by the tennis courts.
and what, September 26th, what night is that? Is that
Monday.
a Monday night, okay.
Yep.
Good.
Okay.
Good, that's a
26th
good night.
September.
No,
We
walking.
also have
5:30.
a movie that night.
Okay.
And then last but not least,
Well, but then
the
dark.
state of Utah has done some stuff with the public safety radios that we're going to have to change over the radios. It does come with a pretty heavy price tag, about $500,000. The fire department did send out a grant for FEMA to do that. We did receive the grant for $390,000. So that's really good news. It has to be done by, well, actually, the end of next year. They're putting on sales the radio by the end of this year, though. So more to come with that, but I wanted to announce that grant,
390,000
$190,000.
Good job.
grant to Roy City to replace our radios.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And that's it.
Okay. Council, anything before I offer a couple?
Yeah, I do.
Please.
Miss Moore went ahead and put together this nice presentation for the Halloween home decorating contest. I'd like to give it a city head nod and make it official.
I'm only going to do it if it's renamed the Glenda Moore Halloween Home Decorating
Yes.
Contest.
I'm not going to go that.
Okay, fine.
I'm not going to go
I'm
that
just teasing
far.
Glenda because I know how much you don't like that. But no, I'm 100% in support as well.
Right, that was gonna be my same question. So are we gonna do anything about this?
It's
So
on our-
can we-
It's on our list.
Can we add it to our arts council, or is it something that somebody specifically wants to undertake? Like Glenda, do you want to undertake this, or is this, okay?
Well,
So
you can-
like something to the arts
She's
council.
just the brainchild, and now she's just handing it off.
I would say let it go the route of the
The Christmas tree.
Christmas tree
Same
lights.
thing with the
Christmas
Christmas
decorations,
Christmas
yeah.
decoration.
A lot of
Brittany?
work on you.
Can we throw some money? Yeah.
Well, it works.
Okay.
She
I don't
has-
think we'll have as many entries as Christmas, so it's
I
not gonna
don't
be
know.
as big of a.
There's some big
My mom's gonna
Halloween.
enter.
Yeah.
Have you seen my house?
Okay, before we pin her down, Brittany,
Oh, Gore.
in all fairness, if you're going to do a contest like this, then there has to be winners, and there has to be some
Prizes?
recognition that goes with that. And I think we do a very nice job for the holiday, for a better word, beautification efforts. And the council then becomes the judges, which has been, we've been doing that for years and years. If you believe this is something we'd like to do and encourage the public to do, then why don't we pattern it after the same thing we do at the Christmas decorations? It's a nice project, and the council can pick a night, or she can give us a week for us to go drive around on those people who basically apply and want to be considered. You okay with that? Matt, could you maybe come up with some first, second, and third place recognition for that? And we use the city council then as the medium to judge it.
It's probably going to have to get in the Roy Connection pretty quick. When's the deadline?
Yesterday.
Here's a write-up.
Yeah, here's a write-up.
Do you want to send it electronically, Glenda? Along that note, when is our trunk or treat this year?
I'll have to check with Lizzie on that date.
Well-
We'll send you guys out an email.
I know Brittany knows. 'cause she
Yeah,
did it.
that one might be a good one. And
Because
I
it's the
think-
week before, usually it's the Monday before Halloween, isn't it?
Yeah. But there's a number of them, Joe, that's coming up, and we best get those on our calendar.
Yeah, because Monday is Halloween, and I wouldn't recommend doing it on Halloween.
Brittany, don't you have that? Isn't it on the Roy Connection already?
October 24th.
24th.
5 to 8.
So that's the trick or treat?
Where
Okay.
at?
The city.
5 to 8, yep.
Okay, October 21st,
October 24th
4th.
from 5 to 8, and it's suggested that the cars, it's one one entry per car. There's no fee or anything for it, but that they pre-register online so that the department has kind of a rough estimate to know what to expect when they put together the maps and treats and when they organize it.
Yeah, it'll have various locations throughout.
You'll have various
For that
locations?
again,
Okay.
around the city, parks.
I think that's worked out really well.
That's worked out great. We've got such positive response on that. So,
No,
Okay.
Lucy does a great job.
yeah.
Perfect.
So Matt, you come up with what you want us to wear and don't let it be weird.
No, let it be weird.
Okay.
It's my first year. Let's go.
Okay,
She always
Matt,
does some sort of
Theme.
This year it's a word search that she'll be sending out.
okay.
To know where to go.
What time?
Let us know that, Travis, as soon as you can. I want to fall back to the Halloween decoration. Brittany, are you okay with moving out, use the same pattern we use for the Christmas? Okay. So I want to make sure we got that firm. Perfect. Okay, anything else?
I had something about the homecoming parade that's going to be at the end of the month. Now that I am thinking about the construction that's going to be going on, I don't know how it will work, but we were wanting the parade to be like on 4800 instead of like through the neighborhoods like it was has been in past years. When I talked to my student government advisor about it, she said that in the past years when she's asked, she's been denied, but I don't know if it's like through this council or
If
Yeah,
it's a
that's-
city involvement, it has to go through the city manager.
Yeah, I've
And-
never seen a request myself,
oh, okay.
so
Maybe she's just saying no. I don't know.
be mainly with public safety and
Say
the
it's more.
the effects of that.
And then
Those
there's
two guys.
coordination with public safety to,
But that's a tough
look
one
at
to
the
close
area.
off.
Yeah.
That is a tough one to close.
Where it's a state road, I don't know about the permitting processes for UDOT is, but shutting down 4800 for parade during swing shift will be an absolute nightmare.
I think
So I
it's
apologize
safer.
for that.
I know. I think it's safer for the kids in the neighborhood. Like people go to those neighborhoods and know that's where it's at.
Where it starts at Roy Jr. and
In
then
the
cuts
neighborhoods, we
through the-
usually can dedicate 2 officers to the parade. We don't have as much cross traffic. There aren't as many intersections. 4800 has high volume and several intersections, and so we wouldn't be able to manage that.
Right.
That makes sense. Okay, that's okay then. We can just keep it at where it was. We were just, when we were talking about it, we were like, why is it not across like our school, like the street that's on where our school's on? But no, that makes sense. for
Well, and
sure,
you'd have
so.
to go up that hill. It's either like that's a big
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
crust
that's
would
by,
be
like,
better
the
for
bank.
walking because it's all walking.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing you can maybe do different is come out at the Seminary Road and then go up a little bit up 4800 and turn into the parking lot.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
I mean, because then you'd be on 4800 just from the Seminary Road up.
Or start here and end at the high school on 4800.
start here. Like,
Well, they usually
Oh,
start at
back
Roy
there.
Jr. and then they
They need it's a lot of entries.
Yeah,
Like it's not just
so-
a little.
All right.
then they go past Lakeview and then turn down, and you could just go straight down, come out at the Seminary Road. What's that road? I can't think what that road is.
I know what you're talking.
And then just go up 4800 and turn right into the parking lot. So it would be a little teeny bit of 4800, but
I mean, I think we're okay having it. That makes sense why, like, we can't, so it's all good. We can keep it where it was, as long as it ends up at Roy High. And
Yeah.
like the previous years, it just is in that intersection right there, so.
Just have somebody standing at the light, pushing the button every
Yeah.
like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and making them come.
well,
Okay.
just do us a favor. Matt, we're talking about using public roads. So if you can just make sure Matt's aware of it, he can coordinate the things with the chief to make sure that we protect the safety component to this, and then we just coordinate that effort. And I think if we can find a right approach to this, I think we'll be fine. But I certainly want to make sure, if we can, that the city's aware of it, and Chief, you're aware of it, just so if there's a need to have an officer or two involved, fine. I agree with you. There's only 4 roads getting east to west in Roy, and we're going to lose one of them next year. 5600 will be reduced. It won't close, but reduced. And we're going to lose 4800 down there. It's just going to create a lot of traffic challenges, and we certainly want to make sure anybody who's in a parade is safe.
but 4800 is going to be closed at the tracks at this point when the parade is anyway. So that's going to
Right.
Yeah, and in the past, we've dedicated the school resource officer specifically to this parade. We do it annually. We're aware of it. We're
Yeah.
typically prepared for it. But anything beyond the route that we have now,
Right.
we would have to plan additionally for.
That's okay.
But with
Yeah,
4800 being
just make
closed,
sure-
that would really help a lot, wouldn't it? Because people can't come up or go down they'd have to, I mean, you can only go to 2,500 and turn left. And so,
Yeah, but we still have to manage the detours.
Yeah,
And so
right.
that's still going to be an issue.
yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you help us coordinate that with the cities so that we make sure we provide a safe
That is the
environment.
29th, the Thursday,
Say again,
the 29th,
of?
September.
His
September.
homecoming game is the 30th September.
Okay. Okay, anything else before I share a couple thoughts? Okay, just a couple of things if you don't mind. Roy City is in the process of purchasing the property for the roundabout on 6,000-3,100. Just be aware that process is unfolding. And it doesn't mean there's going to be a roundabout in there. We still have to wait for the funding to come from the federal or the state. That's still coming, but just recognize that there's negotiations taking place to basically purchase the property of the residents in that area as well as the church property on 6,000 and 3,100. On the 16th of November, if you have not seen it, please mark it in your calendar. There'll be the Southern Weber County Workshop. This is the Wasatch Choice Vision. Some of us have been involved in this for a lot of years. It starts from 4 to 6 o'clock. Let me just define what it is. We get a nice big map. It's sitting in front of us, and we kind of highlight the areas that we see the future. This is taking things from 2023 to 2032. What do we want done? Where do we see the future for that? We, both the Planning Commission, so if you would, Andy, Brody, you got to notify the Planning Commission. They're certainly involved. Ross, I've seen your people involved in that meeting there. You're certainly involved in that. Council, staff, we can be there as a representative, or we can simply, but we get an opportunity to kind of define Roy City's needs going into the future. That, again, is at 4 to 6 p.m., 16th of November of this year, obviously, but we're waiting for the date or the place. We're just waiting for the place, and as soon as I get that, I'll let you know. I'll put an emphasis, if I can, let me just make this clear, okay? 2 years out from now, the South Davis Corridor freeway will be done. That's the plan. And the only major street, I'm calling it the Redwood Road of the future, the only major street is 3,500. If we don't get 3,500 widened, as they're doing now in Davis County side, and they're widening it, looks like all the way up to 1,800 or close to 1,800, then the two-lane traffic coming into Roy on 3,500 will be 2 lanes, and everything to the south and Midland will be 4 lanes. It's already a traffic jam. It will be a bigger traffic jam. I'd strongly recommend, okay, that you consider when you're there, I'm certainly going to try to be there. We talk to those people and mention to them clearly, we've got to move to get the widening of 3,500 done. That study was completed in 2008. Let me repeat that. The study to widen 3,500 was completed in 2008, and it's still not done now. But this is an opportunity to get the priorities we need done so we can help meet the traffic challenges we're going to be facing on the west side of our city. That's one we need to focus on.
What was the date on that?
November 16th.
November, okay.
November 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. I'll get you the place. Ross, you may get it at the same time I get it. As soon as we get that, we'll get it out to the council and staff so they can be ready
So
for it.
didn't you say that project was already moved up several years, the
It
3,500?
was, but it was still number 11 last year. And that means there's a big insertion of money just came from the legislators, from the federal government, but we don't know where it's going to be placed. And my concern would be it's in the hopper, but to give you kind of perspective, that was number 11. 5,600 was actually, I think, number 26. 5,600 breaks ground next year.
So like, what big wigs are going to be there that we could talk to? Like,
These are the people, if you understand the Wasatch Front Regional Council and its role, the Wasatch Regional Council they basically work closely with the municipalities from South Salt Lake to Morgan, Tooele. I mean, it's a rather broad. The other parts of Salt Lake Valley have their own MRO, and Utah County has that. But they take all the money and they prioritize projects, particularly road projects. And it's in those priorities that they determine which ones are going to get the funding first. And I promise you, Utah County gets about everything they want, Salt Lake County gets about everything they want, and northern counties don't get necessarily everything they need. And so we fight all the time on this, but this is an opportunity to get this in the agenda, make the argument. I've already talked to the mayor of Clinton. He's going to take the same action when they do the North Davis same one, because they also have their meeting. And I'm asking Brandon over there, I says, we need to push to finish this corridor. We have no choice. Read my lips, okay, Ross? You'll love this statement. It's going to be the Redwood Road, okay, of Weber and Davis County. And if that doesn't shock you, it should. Because I'm telling you, long before they get the interstate down on the west side into Hooper, it's going to stop in West Point, and the traffic from the bottom part of Weber and Davis County are going to use 3,500 and 2,000 to get that freeway. I promise you. And we have already got a traffic jam down there right now. It's just going to get a lot worse when they get that freeway done in 2 years. So we've got to get this thing moving. And this is the meeting that helps does that. Okay? I think that's all I've got. Okay? Any other comments before I do for a motion to adjourn?
So I was going to ask if you had ever talked to any of the mayors from all the other cities about contributing to our complex.
Yes, I actually reached out to definitely the ones that are close to us. You've already seen evidence by which they went ahead and posted on their websites telling their residents, please consider donating to this effort. The next step of the conversation when I get them around to social where I can get them. Unfortunately, Dale was not there. Rob was there but wasn't able to talk to him, but I did talk to Braden. These are the three municipalities about seeing if they can do something more, okay, in terms of their own city councils to help us in this effort.
Would you mind giving me their numbers? Because I know some of them, and I will personally call them, or is that
I will
inappropriate?
give you anything you'd
Okay,
like.
Okay. And then also, I was wondering, what about the cemetery? Is that still something that's going to ever happen one day?
Ann, that's a great question. We just had a conversation on that. Let me tell you what I know. What I know is we've been working this thing for 5 years. 5 years. We brought the LDS Church property management people twice. I think Matt's met with them on a different occasion recently, but the conversation's somewhat the same. I have brought them personally to Roy City twice on the property they own on 31 and 6,000, because there is 12 acres down there the church owns, and we were approaching them to buy the property. At the same time, we were also looking at the Hanson property. You're already aware of that. That's on the north side of the city. That one seemed to be more lucrative, and there's lots of reasons why.
Right.
I can't tell you at this moment exactly what is happening, but I have personally reached out to the developer who's part of this three-way effort, Roy City, the property owners, and the developer, and I can't get John to call me back. I can't get John to respond. And that tells me one thing. He's in trouble, okay? And we got to get the agreements. We got to go out there. I've asked Matt if he would reach out to the Hansons and talk to the Hansons about what the agreements they have with the developer. I will tell you this. The Hansons looked me in the eye. Matt, you were there. Looked us in the eye and says, if this thing does not go the way planned, they would love to have Roy City come in and acquire the 20 acres that they have. They'd love us to go ahead and finish this. We have been pushing this every way. We cleared the way with UTA. We cleared the way with the zoning. We cleared everything that Roy City could possibly do to get this thing done. Roy City has done and have been waiting now a year or so, waiting for the final piece. We waited almost a year for UTA to give us the green light to get across the trail. That's all done. We're just now waiting for the developer to tell us where he is in terms of this. But I will tell you, I'm concerned.
Well, can we do it without him? Can we just get the 20 acres?
That's the only way I can do
our
that
own
would be is
cemetery?
when Matt sees the memorandum agreement he has signed with the developer and what those dates are. As soon as we get that and talking to the Hansons, we'll see if we have an option. But to be honest with you, I'm getting, I don't know what to tell people who ask me,
I know.
I want to be buried in Roy, there's no options.
No, I have a list of people.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there saying is, what do you tell people after you've been working at 5 years?
Right.
Okay? You got to wait for another 5 years? This is ludicrous.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, and I'll say this publicly. I talked in the meeting today that suggest is that maybe we go back to the LDS church and consider the property on 6,000 and 3,100. That's 12 acres.
Well, so we have, what, 8 acres over there?
Yep.
And then Hanson's was going to give us 20 acres?
They have 20 acres and we have 8.
And do we have to have that developer in order to do those 20 acres?
It's just the
Because-
agreement that the property owners have with the developer. It's a little complex, and I can share
Yeah.
with you offline.
Okay.
But I'm just, we are sitting patiently almost,
Yeah.
trying to get an answer, and I just don't know what that answer is. I don't know what to tell people anymore. I mean, we've done everything. The councils last year, 2 years ago, approved the money to buy Roy portion of the property. It is all done. That was approved. It may be different price today, but it was certainly approved a long time ago. I don't know what to do. I've reached out twice now asking for update, and I have not got a response. I think I know why, personally, but I would just indicate to you is that we got to get more answers, okay? I don't know. Drives me absolutely crazy.
I bet.
It's kind of like the design on 5600. Okay, we've been working that one. They said I'll have a design to you, Mayor, by February. It's now September and we still don't have a design. But on the 23rd, of this month, everybody who has a piece of this conversation on 5600 on the 23rd of September is going to be in a meeting with us, and we're going to ask some hard questions and hopefully get the answers so we see the vision of where 56 is going to impact Roy City. 23rd of September. I'm looking forward to that meeting.
Okay.
Okay? Anything else before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Hearing none, do I have a motion then to adjourn?
Yes, you do. I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ann, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. We are adjourned. Thank you. It's been a little at a time, but we covered a lot of good information.
I saw Randy saying here, but then he's gone.
Hey, Chief. Ross.